Tune in to the Real Estate Roundup with the River Counties Association of Realtors. Whether you're buying, selling, or just love real estate, don't miss our expert advice and exclusive insights. So grab a cup of coffee, sit back, and let's explore the dynamic world of real estate in our vibrant River Counties community. Catch Real Estate Roundup and make your property dreams a reality. Welcome to the River Counties Real Estate Roundup. I'm your host, CEO of River Counties, Michael Parent, and today we have a very special guest with us, Max Phillips, a prominent figure in the real estate world known for his expertise in new construction, commercial real estate, investment properties, and large land acquisitions, especially for developers. Max, it's great to have you with us here today.
Thanks, Michael. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. So, Max, let's just dive right into it. One of your areas of concentration is new construction homes. And what trends are you seeing in this sector, and how do you approach those listings in that category?
Well, Michael, new construction is very exciting at this point in Cleveland-Bradley County. We're seeing a lot of interest in energy efficiency, smart homes, and just new construction in general because of the growth in Bradley County. The Industrial Development Board is predicted as we are having a growth of about 2,500 jobs by the spring of 2025, which means we need homes and we need them now.
Yeah. And are you starting to see that the builders are catching on to this, that's what's coming and they're ramping themselves up?
They're hunting land rapidly to find places to build. All the empty lots in Cleveland all of a sudden are having foundations put in, and it's incredible growth we've got going.
Okay. So you've been in Cleveland for quite a while, right?
Born and raised.
Okay. So you've seen all of the growth and the changes and everything that's happening. And where's your thoughts at as far as, is this a great thing for our community? Because we hear people talk about, growth is too much and we want to slow that down a little bit. But I got to figure there's a different take on that, right?
Well, the word is out all over the nation. Tennessee is the place to move.
Right. And
low cost of living, no state income tax, geographical area is perfect for, you could be on the ocean in 7 hours. And also you have lakes and rivers and very, very lots of things to do.
Okay. So I've always taken it as growth is a good thing, and it helps your infrastructure. It keeps your town, moving forward and bringing in the revenue and everything else and the jobs. So I think it's a great thing, and I'm excited to see that new construction is really starting to ramp up quite a bit. So.
It is, but nobody likes the traffic, but you just don't have to deal with it. That's it.
I come from Chicago, so I'm used to traffic, so I understand it. So, all right, so let's talk a little bit about commercial real estate. Obviously that's a broad field. Can you narrow that down a little bit for our listeners? Where do you see the most action? What should they know about it? Just kind of give them a little education on commercial real estate.
Well, it's quite dynamic. We see a lot of planned unit developments, which entails a blend of retail, office space, residential, townhomes, all in one package and all in one land development. And with that in mind, here comes the growth, and places to live, work, play, and work out, and store your furniture, and many uses of all in one package.
Right. And so, planned unit developments. I know a lot of people aren't familiar necessarily with that word, which is, or term, PUD. But that's a good thing, right? I mean, people should be excited about that when they see those developments coming in.
The city is very much PUD oriented.
Okay. And I understand the city's even looking at like some housing downtown, just to get more people to live down there and kind of revitalize that downtown area.
Correct. Okay. They're revitalizing the downtown area, and what they'll do down there is going to be remarkable for Cleveland, and restaurants and everything comes. Right. And we need them.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's a good thing. Before we get into investment properties, let's talk a little bit about, give the listeners a little bit of your background. What got you started in this business? How long have you been in real estate? What's your, we talked about your areas of expertise a little bit here, but tell them, what you do to provide services for your buyers and sellers.
Experience. I was one when my mother started the real estate industry, and I started at age 23, and I've been actively practicing real estate for 46 years. I've seen everything happen in Cleveland there is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And your passion for staying in it this long, obviously, what do you feel drives you with staying in it for this long? I commend you for being in it for this long too. That's a great thing.
I love it. You know, when it's just amazing how rewarding it is to give people investment, see them smile when they get their first home, and then when they sell that home and then reinvest in another home. It's just a very rewarding experience.
Yep, it's a people business, which is great. It's great. Yeah. I agree with you. It's great to see people get their first home. Nothing better feeling than that.
That's right.
So home ownership is good. Let's talk a little bit then about investment properties. Obviously it's a hot topic, and what advice do you have for someone looking to get into investment properties, kind of building up their portfolio for retirement and a better way of life to buy those investment properties? What advice could you give somebody looking for that?
Well, you got to start somewhere. Start small.
Okay.
Get some experience in the small, and then you invest more and more and more. It's kind of like, Michael, it's kind of like building your own 401k.
Okay.
And you start investing, and then the more you invest, the smarter you get. And then you know where the strong markets are. You know how much the rental should be and what you need to do to make that rental maximize your portfolio.
Okay.
And on and on.
So would you help somebody to begin that path? I mean, is that one of your areas, obviously a specialty? So if somebody wanted to reach out to you to say, Max, I want to buy my first investment property, I take it you could help them from beginning to end with that?
Done it several times.
Okay.
And we start out with one duplex, and then we go rental houses, and then we'll buy a commercial building. Okay. But it all starts with that first transaction.
Yep, definitely. And I think it's a great thing. Home ownership obviously is a valuable thing to have. And if you can start building your portfolio, I think it's even better than a 401k because you're a little bit more in control of it, and people are always going to need housing. So
yeah, it's great inflation.
Yeah, definitely.
Great for inflation.
So let's touch a little bit on large land acquisitions. As you talked about, the builders and developers are coming in, trying to keep up with all the businesses that are moving here to the Cleveland area, which is great. So it seems like a little bit of a niche market. What does one need to know about acquiring land and doing a land acquisition? What advice would you have on that?
First, look for infrastructure.
Okay.
Sewer, water, roads, access to major roads, and that was the first start.
And with that, do you feel that that's for any buyer getting in this marketplace? It should be a more experienced buyer that's delved into that, or do you feel somebody new can just really start to learn that and know what to do?
That's not for the first-time buyer.
Okay.
Excuse me. It's for the seasoned investor that knows really what they're looking for. And I go and prospect for those lands, and then I take it to several investors and builder developers. And if it works, we do due diligence, and then the next thing you know, there's a subdivision.
Great. It sounds easy.
Not really, but it does happen about
sure.
Like that.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So new construction, let's jump back to that for a little bit too. You're very heavily involved in that, and you have listings, right? Could you tell our listeners what listings you have out there right now that are new construction, what might appeal to somebody, and kind of just help make awareness of what you have already in your books that is listed?
Right now, I'm specializing in a first-time home or first-time home investment, basically around and that price point is around $300 to $350 and under.
Okay.
And and range from anywhere from $260 to $350.
Okay.
And that's what I'm specializing in. And Michael, the market is so good that, for example, I'm putting one live today, and it's $14.9, and I feel like it'll be on the market about a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's new construction?
Yes, brand new.
Okay. And are those in all different areas of Cleveland or surrounding areas, or where do you concentrate mostly with your new listings right now?
Really not the way the growth is going in Cleveland. There's really not one area. It's just where you can find a lot to put it on.
Okay.
That's true.
I get it. And, that's something, too, that a lot of people get a little intimidated with new construction because they're not quite sure of it. They don't understand the whole process of that. But obviously, I'm sure you do a terrific job educating them with the new construction house and, showing them all the bells and whistles of it and everything.
Oh yes, it's and they all come with a warranty, and
Okay.
and it's not like you're having to fix plumbing or anything for a year. You move in and it's move in ready, and you get to enjoy it for a long time with no maintenance.
So all the new construction ones you have will pretty much then have a 1-year warranty for that home
Absolutely.
buyer. Okay,
Yeah.
which is great peace of mind, especially if it's a new homeowner.
Absolutely,
To kind of know.
especially first time home buyer.
Yeah, definitely. So
Yeah.
that's good to know. And as far as the listings you talked about, so let's talk about a little bit of your insight to this market. I mean, if somebody's looking to sell their home right now, what's your best advice? Not giving away all your trade secrets, but trying to help somebody understand, I want to sell my house. What's my next steps? What would you guide them on? What do you feel that they should be doing next?
Find a good realtor.
Okay.
Putting your home on the market today, there's such a demand for our homes that anybody that doesn't use a realtor is making a huge mistake, because you should absolutely put it on the market to where it's more like a bidding war, if you can understand what I'm saying. Because
Okay.
because the way we market homes today, we put them all over the world,
Sure.
and your buyer could be anywhere from California, New York, Florida, Las Vegas, Chicago, Europe, or even China. So you must market your home with someone that can make sure that's where they place it and get it out there to everybody.
So like you mentioned, all the buyers that are coming in, most of the buyers are coming in, aren't homegrown from our Cleveland area. Again, such as myself from Chicago. So I think that's a key thing, right? To understand that buyer is not always going to be just local. You get far reaching from that.
It's far reaching from local nowadays.
Yeah.
The local buyer now is at a disadvantage because the appreciation of the homes in the Cleveland Bradley area have escalated so much that we see a lot of out-of-town buyers coming in with lots of cash.
Right. So, and there are cash buyers.
Yeah.
Where do you feel interest rates are going to be at? I know it's hypothetical, but talk to our listeners. We were all spoiled for years with rates being at 2%, 3%, 4%, and then when they hit 6.5%, everybody thinks that's the worst rate in ever in history, and we know it's not, because back in the 80s it was in the 20s. So
yeah, I was there.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I thought 12.5 was great.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
I got my first house at 10.5, and I thought I won.
Yeah, I know.
So being at 6.5 really resonates to $6 per thousand on your mortgage. So tell our listeners a little bit about that, and if they do buy a home right now at 6%, what's their options down the road when those rates lower? Kind of explain that to them so they understand you're not tied to that rate forever.
It looks like what the mortgage the mortgage lenders are doing now is they are offering a lot of buy down rates.
Okay.
And the last loan that I closed last week was closed at 5.625.
Okay.
Tremendous rate. If we see 5.5, our market is going to go crazy again, because we've seen 8.5,
Right.
and now they're dropping and they're around 6.5, but then they're buying them down to around 5.5, 5.75, and that is really creating a buzz that they ask the seller to help them out a little bit with a buy down, and then they have a good rate, and then they move in and have a decent payment. But we're not going to see 2% and 3% for a long, long time. But if we see 5.5, that's what we're looking for. It looks like the rates should decline. They said the first quarter or the second quarter of this year. Now that looks like they're moving to the third quarter and fourth quarter of this year.
Okay.
As far as your prime rate is
Okay.
concerned. And that will be, they're just watching inflation and making sure to keep it down, and that's why they're not dropping yet.
Sure. So explain the buy down a little bit, not to get too technical for our clients, but our listeners, but for them to understand what that means when the rate is being bought down.
You pay a specific amount of money to buy it down to a specific rate.
Okay.
Sometimes if you don't buy it down, you don't qualify for the loan.
Okay.
But again, I think the best thing to do there is go to a local lender and let them interview you and find out what your needs are, and then they will discuss and tell you exactly what to do in order to buy it down and make it affordable to you.
And the other thing too is there's always the option of refinancing, right? I mean, if you're at that 6.5 now and the rates drop 0.5%, 0.75%, they can refinance that.
Absolutely.
Correct? And I think a lot of people don't understand that they think a 30-year mortgage, they're kind of tied into that for the 30 years, but you have the right to refinance that at any time. So.
Yeah. If I could say anything, I'd say pay a little bit more on the principal per month.
Yeah.
And take it down to, $150 a month on your mortgage will take it down to almost a 15-year loan.
Right.
So
yeah,
be good advice.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously, I'm sure when you sit down with a buyer, you'd sit them down, explain all their options, and help them understand what's best for them, and get them, like you said, with their lenders. So where do you see our market going in these next few years? I mean, we all talk about inventory is a little bit tight at times. Do we still see that happening, you think, throughout the rest of this year?
Cleveland, Tennessee, and all parts of Tennessee are growing like I've never seen in my career. I don't know how long this growth will last, but it looks like it's going to be long and for many years to come. And because we still have land,
sure.
we still have a great community, we still have low cost of living, we still have no state income tax, and people are moving here in droves from everywhere. So right. I see growth. I've never seen anything like this in the last 5 years. It's been unbelievable, the appreciation that we've seen in homes, and it's not probably going to be as much as it has been, but it's still going to be very, very rewarding. So my advice would be just get in there and find something and get started.
And sometimes it doesn't take much. 3% down. There's different loan programs, correct, that help buyers get into homes.
Yeah, a first-time home buyer can get in with basically 100%.
Yeah.
With no money down. A veteran can do the same thing.
Right.
And then there's the 3.45% to get in, and then there's also a 3% conventional and a 5% conventional.
Okay.
And then with little seller concessions and everything else, that'd be all your investment.
And if somebody had some tough credit, and that still doesn't mean that they can't get a home at some point, correct?
You better, you need to work on your credit.
Right. But I mean that there's a path that they could get on to get that credit score higher and cleaned up. And
yeah, there's lenders that will actually put you on that path.
Okay.
And say, this is what we need to do. They look at your portfolio and they say, this is what you need to do in order to qualify for a home of this price range. And it may take 3 months. It may take 6 months. It could take as long as a year. But my advice to everybody would be just get started.
Right. Yep, definitely. Don't delay. And there's always an answer. It might not be an immediate fix, but like you said, it could take a year, it could take a little longer. And
but you can get there.
You can get there, definitely. And let's talk a little bit about, obviously you said you've been in this business for 46 years and you've seen a lot of things, you've done a lot of things. You're also involved politically with your realtor association, and you help with different bills that are coming through, good or bad, that we try to obviously, help homeownership rights to continue on. So can you digest a little bit of, that information, kind of help people understand what do you do on that side of the business?
I have a real passion for politics.
Okay.
I'm not running for anything and don't want to. However, I do like to get involved.
Sure.
And I like, the bills that are in Nashville and also in Washington are important. We need, the Realtors Association and even the Home Builders Association need to get behind those and make sure that we always are for affordable homes, mm-hmm. and keep pressing to achieve that. And if we don't give money and we don't support and voice our opinions, we won't get it.
Right.
So we have to be involved. And if I could tell anybody, even in the real estate business or anything, get involved in politics. Let your constituents, I mean, not your constituents, but your representatives and your senators and your all that are involved, let them know how you feel and what needs to be done.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe even a number of times throughout the last number of years that every homeowner gets to write off the interest that they pay for their loan, home interest deduction. And there were bills that had been put through that tried to get that taken away, right? That
We fought and won.
Yeah. It's a huge benefit of a homeowner being able to write that interest off, correct? And so those are some things that, like you said, people need to be aware of, that you're out there trying to help and make sure that home ownership doesn't get impacted negatively.
The River County Association of Realtors is very strong and it's a huge organization. It's grown. When I first started, I think we had 100 realtors.
Okay.
Now we have 900.
Sure. Yeah.
We have 900, which is amazing.
Yep.
And we are very strong. We've given a tremendous amount of money as a political action committee to where that we can fight these bills and make sure that we want to make sure they're affordable and sustainable and all for the public to enjoy.
Right. Yeah, definitely. And it takes a lot of effort, to make sure home ownership stays on the right track.
Don't sleep.
Yeah.
Because there'll be somebody there that'll bring another bill that could hurt us.
Sure, definitely. And I appreciate realtors such as yourself that are involved in that to help all of our listeners out there, to keep their home ownership rights protected and making sure that nothing is a negative impact on them.
That's right.
So as we move towards the end here and wrapping up our show, what other thoughts, advice do you have for a buyer, a seller that you'd like to share with them as far as, buying a house, selling a house? Where should they start? Obviously, they're going to contact you. What's an email address or website they can go to contact you, or phone number? Share your information with them.
Well, I'd be happy to discuss anything with them and have an interview. My name, again, is Max Phillips. I work at Crye-Leike. My phone number is 423-596-7173, and I'll call you back.
Okay.
Leave a message. I may not answer right then, but I will get back to you. And also my email is gmaxphillips@gmail.
Okay.
And I'm there 24/7.
All right. So give your phone number one more time. Just make sure they had a chance to write that down correct.
Again, 423-596-7173.
Okay. And we appreciate you being here today. You got a wide array of different things that you've been involved with in real estate, which is commendable and great to hear of all the experiences that you've done and dealt with. Anything else you want to leave our listeners with as far as getting into this market? Any other advice you got to share with them?
My best advice is be whoever it is. Find a experienced realtor that works for you.
Okay.
And an experienced realtor knows where to take you as far as to get you started if you have credit issues or if you're a cash buyer, even, for example. They know exactly how and where to get the things done that you need to done, become a homeowner and an investor or a land developer or to buy a commercial building. That's the number one thing, is find a good realtor.
Right. To be your trusted partner.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah,
absolutely.
Definitely. And with the trusted partnership, obviously, if they don't have a lender, you could refer them to a couple lenders that that are going to help them and take good care of them, correct?
That's what we do.
Okay. And as far as, we got just a couple minutes left. Let's talk about the closing process. What's a key information topic that you can share with our buyers, especially? Like, they get a house, right? They write the contract. They got to get to the closing process. The key part of that is to make sure that they have all their documents in order, right, for the lender, and to get to that closing table.
Oh, it just starts when you sign the contract,
right,
Michael. And then the lender, a good lender, walks you through their process. The realtor walks through their process, and it just starts when you buy it. And then after the lender compiles all the things they need and you get loan approval, then it goes to a title company. Also, the realtor and the lender will find a good title company to recommend and make it as smooth as possible. The worst thing you can do is not have all those people in place. Right. And then it could turn a great day into a nightmare.
Right.
So it's all about finding the right professionals And there's not just one,
Right.
there's several in this industry.
And the title company is the one that's going to facilitate the closing on behalf of the lender and,
Yes.
and the buyer.
Everybody has a job.
Right. Yep. And it's important.
It is important that everybody does their job.
Right. Yep. And explain a little bit, just because some of our listeners, first-time buyers, might not understand what the whole title process means. You know, what does that mean to somebody that's new? If I come to you and I never bought a house, what do you mean about title? Can you explain that to me?
Well, you go to a lawyer, title company. They do a search to make sure that there's no liens on the property where you're going to assume. I mean, can you imagine buying a home and then you move in and then all of a sudden you have a hidden lien or a lost heir that comes in and says, no, that's my house.
Okay.
Well, the title company makes sure that doesn't happen. And you actually pay insurance for that.
Okay.
But if the title company's not a real professional, that could slip through the cracks.
Okay.
And it's very imperative that everybody does their job, and you starts with the realtor. They'll direct you to your lender. The lender then and the realtor figure out the best title company to close the loan, and then everything's a happy close then.
You want closing day to be very happy.
Everybody's smiling.
Right. That's the best part of that.
When one's in one room and one's in another room, it's not good.
Right. You want to see everybody at the same table and smile on their face when they leave.
Right.
And I think some our listeners might not realize that not having a title company do their due diligence could cost you an issue down the road.
Absolutely.
Tax liens and other stuff that could be put on a property. You need to make sure all that is cleared up.
Absolutely.
So, and how long do you think the closing process takes? So I get in there, you tell me my closing's at 10 o'clock on Friday. How long am I going to be in there?
Lender, I've seen stacks of paper this big, and I've seen stacks of paper this big. So it depends on how long the stack is.
Okay.
But they can close in 15 minutes or they can close within an hour.
Right.
Most of the time in hours. If there's problems, it could be 2 hours. But with no issues, easily 30 to 45 minutes.
So not too painful.
No, it's not too bad.
Okay. Well, Max, I want to thank you so much for joining us today, sharing your expertise, helping our listeners get more educated on buying and selling real estate. Give again your contact information just so they have it one last time.
Okay. Michael, I'd like to thank you for the job you do within the River County Association of Realtors.
Thank you.
And also, my name again is Max Phillips. I work for Crye-Leike. My phone number is 423-596-7173 and gmaxphillips@gmail.com.
Awesome. And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in to the River County's Real Estate Roundup. Join us next time for more insights and discussions on the world of real estate. Until then, take care and happy investing. Thank you, Max.
Thank you.
Do you imagine a career with flexibility and limitless income potential? It's possible by becoming a realtor. The River County's Association of Realtors, located right here in Cleveland, Tennessee, is ready to help you unlock your potential. We're your go-to resource for guiding you to obtain your Tennessee real estate license. We're more than just realtors. We're a vital part of our community. Partnering with local charities, we work tirelessly to make a difference. Join the River County's Association of Realtors today, where your career can thrive and community can too. Visit rivercounties.com or call 423-476-5912. Your new path awaits.